All right, so technically we're recording now.
Well, hi, Josh.
So here, hey, welcome everybody. This is Weekend Spotlight with Josh Rice and Nick Guzzo, broadcasting. Actually, we're not broadcasting, Nick. We're just recording today.
And then we're going to put it on what the kids call the World Wide Web.
That's right. It's not a live show.
Shoots it out to people.
So this is for this weekend, the 16th and 17th of September. Wow, it's September.
It's almost the end of the year.
Hey, this is our first time doing this too. So this show is going to get a lot of, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I've never sat in front of a mic like this in it seems clinical to me.
It's kind of, it's
formal.
It's a little intimidating, but once we get going here, I think we'll be all right. So basically what we want to do is tell everybody about what's going on. We want to talk about the venues. We want to talk about some bands. We want to have some good conversation. And then eventually, maybe even starting next week, we will maybe bring a guest on and talk to them about their band. So
yep. I've chatted some people up. It's a great idea. It'd be good to know local people and we who play around here, like we all know them.
Sure.
Know their background. Were they a little kid? When did they first start doing this?
Exactly. Well, let's get right into this then. Let's talk about us for a minute, just because we're your host and we'd like you to know who we are. I'm Josh Rice.
And I'm Nick Guzzo.
And we are both musicians on the side, and we do this little thing called real estate to make a living. And Nick actually does a little more than that. He does some...
Well, I do museum quality restorations on fine antiques.
It's good stuff.
Some of which sits in museums. No, it's a family business so many years, but yeah, real estate has been popping.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
The Rockstar Group.
We are the Rockstar Group, and that's why we're rock stars too. And we thought we would take some of the knowledge we have and some of the resources we have and put this little podcast together so that you can listen to this and learn more about your favorite people in town here.
Yeah. Call in with your questions at 800-977.
We'll be able to do that, but what we'll have
fun.
to do is prearrange that. But so Nick's in a band. The current rendition is called Wheelhouse. And Nick, why don't you just tell me a little bit about, well, not just me, but everybody who's listening, a little bit about that band and what you guys are up to.
Yeah. That band was a band called Five in the Wheel some years ago. I don't know, probably 9 years, 8, 9, I can't remember exactly.
Has it been that?
Yeah, when we were first Five in the Wheel.
Well, okay, beginning Five in the Wheel, but you guys, it's only been Wheelhouse now for what, a year maybe?
2
years. Wow,
yeah.
Time flies.
Wow, is that something?
Yeah, so, okay.
And so Becky and I have been in it since the original, when I first met her playing with Five in the Wheel. And Gary's a bass player we went through about 4 or 5 other bass players with that Five in the Wheel thing. It was a lot of funny situations. At any rate, Greg's been with us 2 years.
What's Greg play?
Guitar.
Guitarist, okay.
Greg's got a neat background from California, but then New York for 12 years, where he was part of the Screen Actors Guild and all.
Turn your damn phone off, man.
I know. It's just like church, man.
It's like bing, bing in my ears.
I know. How do you work these?
Yeah, there you go.
He was an actor. He was on these little bit parts, let's say, that like a show like 48 Hours, where they have reenactments. And
yeah.
There's been times where he was the coroner or the sheriff. And so he comes from that background, but has played singles, duos, and in bands since the 70s.
Wow.
I always think one of his coolest stories is I think his first job as an 18-year-old kid was working on it was either Midnight Special or Don Kirshner's rock concert. That's where he was learning sound in a huge auditorium. Anyway, we'll say that for the Greg show.
Yeah, we'll bring him in. We'll bring in the whole band.
Greg
hopefully.
is the guy we're going to have in because he's got a great background. He's producing a movie. He's been in production in a couple different things with other people, and he's right now organizing something that's going to have a Alice Cooper cameo.
Oh, very cool.
Because he's coming to town October 6th.
October 6th. I just saw a banner for that out on the streets today.
So did I.
Hey, so what kind of music do you guys play?
Classic rock. We can play country, funk, dance music. That kind of shit. I mean,
yeah.
You're going to hear something you've probably heard before, the old cover band thing.
And just so everybody knows, Nick is the lead guitar player and does some vocals too.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite song you guys play?
Oh, that's really hard.
I know, but I'm going to put you on the spot because
we got a lot of harmonies. We got 4 people, and I'm always this guy, and Becky's all up there,
yeah.
And then we've got a nice blend. So I can't just pick a song. I can say the songs we do heavy harmonies on where there's 4 voices.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Give me a few songs that you enjoy playing. How's that? not your favorite song, but maybe a few that are kind of.
For harmonies, I enjoy playing something as simple as listening to the music. You know what I mean? That silly song will pack a dance floor just like Sweet Home Alabama will, right?
Yep.
And
do you guys play Sweet Home Alabama?
Only for if you write it on the back of a $20 bill.
I was going to say at least a 20.
Now with inflation, that could be 50s.
I was going to say it needs to get up there.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we're not going to do that.
No, that's cool.
We all know we're monkeys, by the way, for what we do.
Yeah.
You don't do it for the $100 or whatever you might get. Because you have to move all the stuff.
That's
right.
To
set it all up. You have to do all the
work.
God, and then you get that enjoyment for 3 or 4 hours.
So Sweet Home Alabama is kind of like Freebird in my mind.
It is.
It's like those two songs that are always requested, and musicians, we just don't, it's just not our,
No, there's a time and a place. There's times where you go, screw it, I've had it. Certain moods.
Sure. There you go.
You'll be sitting there, we're not doing it. But a lot of other times you're like, screw it, it's 3 chords. Then we'll go into this one and that one and that one and play all the same chords and make them dance for like 15
All right, so listen to the music. What else?
I always like playing the Dire Straits stuff.
Oh, I was gonna point that out.
Yeah. It's always funny. Gary likes saying the joke. Gary is our bass player, by the way, Gary Van Slyke. Let me go down the lineup first before we continue.
Full lineup.
Gary playing bass, been a musician since I was probably a toddler, but he grew up in New York. And what I always tell him as a bass guy, he's very good, but it's because he was doing and learning that while funk was evolving.
Yeah.
The James Brown shit comes out and all the good.
Yeah.
And then you learn about guys like Bootsy Collins and these guys. You go, wow, they invented that genre. And to be a musician who's a kid while you're learning, I don't know, when did you start playing drums at all? I was like about 11 or 12 when I started messing with the guitar.
Exactly, yep.
So when you're that age and a whole music is, when I was young playing and we heard Eddie Van Halen, and you're like, what the shit?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden all the other stuff comes out. Anyway, Gary's that bass player from, he's been here many years. He worked for a phone company in Phoenix. He's been here 25, 30 years in Arizona, I guess. Mikey DJ. You're gonna have to edit that because I can't believe I said that.
It doesn't get edited, dude. It's just
DJ Hunt has been our drummer now for many months. He's probably pushing a year, and he's just a solid, great drummer who's played, for years and moved here from Nevada, but from California originally, I guess, the west part of the country. So, DJ on drums, Gary on bass, Greg Paul does he can play keys, he puts key fill stuff in, he plays guitar, got an amazing voice, and me, of course, I sing all that low stuff, and Becky is the vocal that's up. I like a lot of the female songs we do, too.
Yeah.
Or the ones where, she'll pull Journey shit off. And
oh, nice.
Yeah. Because,
yeah, why not, right?
Steve Perry. Did you ever see the camel toe on that album?
Jeez, man, come on.
There were pictures of him.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? It's like he sang so high.
Yes.
Almost as high as a young Filipino man who's replaced him.
Well, and I've seen you guys in both renditions before, Five in the Wheel, now Wheelhouse, and you guys kick some butt every time you play. It's enjoyable.
Thanks, man.
It's a good mix. It's that classic rock mix. And you guys don't. I mean, how often are you guys playing? Because you guys play all over the place.
Through the
different
summer,
venues.
we usually try and book it to where you at least have a weekend off in a month.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'm never going to keep June and July that much.
Sure.
That clear. So we are just coming off a time when we were playing either with a 3-piece, which is Greg and I on guitars and Becky on vocals and 3 great harmonies.
The whole Wheelhouse 3-piece thing.
The trio,
trio, Wheelhouse trio.
And between that and the regular band, there's not probably 8 weeks straight where at least there was one gig for the trio. Like coming up this Saturday at the Whiskey River Tavern on Montezuma Street.
That's right. You're plugging it. I was going to get there, but
from 1 to 4 we'll be playing. We can bring it up later. Anyway.
Yeah, we will.
It is hard to pick songs, but what's amazing with Greg is he's a really good guitar player that he and I just started adding harmony stuff. Ultimately, in my mind, I want to do The Boys Are Back in Town with
great
all the
song.
double harmony guitar leads. But Greg has a great ear for harmonies on guitar, so you know how you play songs for so many years? You're like, shit, let's learn some new ones.
Yeah.
But there's always those ones that make everybody dance all the time.
Yeah. And they're fun to play usually.
Yeah.
Those ones are.
But even it's like if you play Brick House or play that funky music of White Boy, just those opening measures.
Yep. Everyone knows them. Yeah.
When you guys, that's how many STP songs or whatever songs
exactly.
you guys do that. You hear that opening line, you're like, they're going to do this.
Exactly right.
And I got to say that about your band is when I walked in the cage a while ago, man, you have your crowd and they all come and they are there for that 90s.
Oh yeah, They're hooked on that
They're
stuff.
all singing it with you,
Yeah.
man. It's like that was one of the more packed times I've seen the Cage, and I played there. The original Cage was my first bar I played in here when I was 16.
It's awesome.
It would have been the late 80s or whatever it was. And so it's kind of, and I know what those crowds are like, and I know how music has evolved in this town for 40 years almost.
Yeah.
Like in the days when we'd be going, hey, man, we better get $50 a piece.
So
this is it.
Well, what's interesting, and so my band, 90 Proof, we're a 90s rock, grunge, alternative cover band. And when we first started playing about 3 years ago, it was hard to get gigs. Because people are like, what do you guys play? And we're like, well, we play 90s rock, grunge, alternative. And
we only do 80s Joel.
And I'll never forget, too, one of the bar owners, and I'll leave their name out of this.
You can say things and I'll know privately.
You'll know. I'll tell you later. But they're like, well, if you guys play grunge, you can't play here. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, grunge is like, Rawr. I'm like, no. Yeah. What do you, they have like a misconception of
they
even
think
what the music is.
Metal.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, have you heard of Pearl Jam? Like, and anyway, so.
No, but they think it's that Satan shit where the
screamo,
guys going,
which has its own place. And,
but it's not what you do.
It's not what we do.
No.
And so we went through, and a little further back, we've wanted to create this band. Me and John, our lead singer, we've wanted to create this band for years and years and years. And we kind of seen the music scene go from all this classic rock and you guys do it right. But the problem was it was either classic rock or country. That's it. There was no other, you couldn't see anything else.
They do it all.
And I got tired of Sweet Home Alabama and Freebird. And that's why I was giving you a hard time about that.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah. And
I'll own that.
so we started playing and we formed this band, and now it's great. Now we have a following. People come out, just to see us. We have some people that were messaging us today that are like, they're from Phoenix, and we don't play in Phoenix that often. Starting to play down there a little bit more, but it's hard to get home when you're playing till midnight.
Oh God, I've done that. And then in Phoenix, you're like, they can pay bands down there all day, and they're not going to pay you much more than they pay those guys.
Exactly right.
But you got to drive 3 hours round trip.
Yeah, exactly. We're home at 3 in the morning, and
it's a sacrifice we do because we love to do it.
We
right?
love to do it. Exactly.
It's like I'd rather do that and screw around. No matter what kind of week you have, it doesn't matter. Those 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, it's great, dude,
you
right?
are a rock star in your little fishbowl.
I like to feel like the audience too has that same experience. Like they come and then those 3 hours go by or 4 hours go by so fast for them too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I'm done playing, I'm like, I just played 35 songs. No, come on. No, I just played 40 songs.
Or we just played for an hour and 15 because you wanted to keep the dance crowd there. Because
exactly.
They're going to go down the road to another place.
Yeah.
So play for an hour and 15 or longer, and they will stay there and dance.
Exactly.
And like I say, your crowd is kind of built in, and places know that.
They do now.
Venues
they do
know
now.
that.
It wasn't like that for a while. I mean,
it takes a while to get there.
A perfect example, the Birdcage, and Jill's great over there, the owner. But for a long time, she, it's hard to get a gig, there. She's like, no, it doesn't really fit the cage. And I'm like, Jill, listen, everybody's telling us we need to play here. So that's why I'm here. And then finally we got in there on like a St. Patrick's Day or something.
Or Sunday.
Packed it out.
She did that with me years ago too.
So you bands, if there's bands out there that you're having a hard time getting gigs, just be persistent. And we'll have a whole show on talking about getting gigs, right, Nick? Because, I mean, that's a whole nother interesting world, right?
And when you play with people who are like, dude, did you check on that gig we did there? Or did you check on this gig? And you're looking in your book going, shit, like I'm not doing a million other things.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Let me do all this.
Yeah. Well, because small bands, we're booking agents, we're talent promoters, we're trying to learn new songs, we're trying to practice, all this different stuff.
We divvy that role up
now,
and we started doing it ever since Greg came around because he's quite the business guy and he's in production and all this. He can get gigs. Becky has gotten gigs. I've gotten gigs. Gary is, we've all gotten gigs.
You're lucky because on my end, it's always
you.
Me. Yeah, which it's okay. I don't mind, but it's a lot of work sometimes.
So John, who plays drum with you? Then drums right now.
John.
Bass.
Oh, Keith.
You were supposed to say Josh Rice.
Well, I was like John, who plays drums. I thought you were talking about
I know
your drummer again.
No, but Keith.
That you can't remember the name of.
So you guys do it. I know, right? It's because it took my back medicine.
That's right. Yeah.
If you think of like a nucleus of 3 guys, the power trio concept, the whole root of the rhythm of whatever's done has a pure sense to where that's what conveys to those people too.
Sure.
Because they're dancing to that.
Well, a lot of the bands we play, we're three-piece bands.
We're that.
Although we will be bringing in another guitar player, just because there's some songs. There's
If
a lot of
I
songs we
wasn't
can't
doing
do.
anything,
I know, Nick.
I would
Come on,
love
man.
to do
I know,
it.
right?
If I wasn't playing so much, I would.
I know,
some
right?
songs. You know what I always liked? I grew up through that music as well.
Sure.
Too. Maybe just a tad older, but I love all that shit.
That's
One
great.
of these days, I want to come in and go, waiting
yeah.
on a Sunday afternoon.
Nick's gonna come sing some SDP. But that's what's cool, and it's fun because we've been trying to keep it fresh, so we'll bring a lot of songs in. We probably have, from a year ago, our set list is probably half the songs we played a year ago, and
They
then
narrow down.
half new songs. So we've added a bunch of songs, and we kind of rotate them through, which makes it good for the crowd too. They're coming, they see, oh, I didn't know you guys played that. When did you start playing that? We're like, last week was the first time. Oh wow, it's fun for me too because I'm kind of the spokesperson for the band on stage, which is weird because I'm the drummer.
I know,
but it's my role.
It works.
But I almost every show I get to announce this is the first time you're hearing this. This is the premiere of this song that we're going to play. So that makes it kind of fun. It's a little not challenging for the band, but a lot of pressure. It's like, yeah, guys, we got 3 new songs. We just played them one time at practice on Wednesday, and now we're going to play them Saturday night. Let's do it.
Do you think a little of that advantage because of your history in business and dealing with everything from financing to real estate,
as far as like the speaking
communication,
part goes?
the communication ability and comfort level with it.
Sure, I'm definitely an A personality, and I don't mind doing it. John, our lead singer, is opposite of that.
He's always so quiet, but God, he plays fucking guitar.
Oh, and he can sing. He sings.
His voice is great.
He's an amazing singer, and
Big
so
range of things.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not. We're not trying. People are like, oh, I'll never forget one of the first gigs we played. Nick, we're playing, right, and there's a kind of a couple younger people there. They come up to us and they're on a break and they're like, "You guys are so good. You're gonna get signed." And I'm like, they know we're a cover band, right? Like, I don't know if they knew that. They didn't. They loved it, but they didn't necessarily know the songs. And
those are the people you can break out some weird shit that's old that they won't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Here's an original. Yeah. But it is interesting.
I enjoy doing it too, and that's what's nice too is Greg will talk and Becky will talk, and we kind of help divide that up too. Yeah. There's almost a sense, and I've told Becky this before, about there's a comedic or entertainment value in between songs of talking with people. You know how people engage you,
yes,
and they'll come up and buy you drinks. That's another reason. I mean, I almost only do it.
That's
for the
why
drinks.
That's why you play music.
Free drinks. Shit.
Come on,
and you're gonna pay me.
You're gonna pay me.
All I gotta do is move this shit around
and buy me drinks.
I'm in. I hate when I have topics and I get off topic. I told you earlier this would happen.
No,
the point I was making.
That's the problem, Nick, with us because I have very severe undiagnosed ADD. Oh. So
no, you're high functioning. You're on the high end of the
high
spectrum.
Functioning ADD.
See, and I almost remembered what I was going to talk about. Oh, the when you're talking, engaging people in between sets, there is a value to it. Like guys who sit and do stand up, you have an opportunity of having the attention of this many people for right now, and they're listening to us.
Yes,
and it could be 50 people, it could be 10, it could be 100, but you have them right there, and that's kind of a cool thing that. When you say type A, I think there's so many variables of people saying different personalities on this, on that, and whatever. There is also people who just like to communicate, and they can talk, and they can do it to levels like George Carlin or things like that. You know what I'm saying? These are guys,
absolutely. Yep.
And it's effortless because it's conversation like we're just having.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable in that, like I said, from the business we do and things, you have to have that ability.
Yeah.
And I've been raised in a family business for 48 years with the restoration things. My grandpa, my dad. My dad was much like that. First guy in his class or his family to graduate college, and he did engineering. Worked for Zenith Radio Corporation. So having a business and growing up with a dad who was like that probably was a big deal to me because I do that too. And my sons are both that way too.
Sure,
they'll talk a lot too. I think there's a lot of it inherently in there. So
I think it's one of those things either you got or you don't. Yeah. I don't think it's my wife is not a public speaker at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could ever make her a public speaker.
No.
Some people have it, some people don't, but
yeah, no, you do a good job there because I also think
it's fun
because you come in with those songs and you're bringing you can start hitting the beat that they're dancing and then say this is that coming up.
What's been a lot of fun is I'm not a singer. Okay, so God didn't bless me with the vocal abilities, right? Yeah. But there's a couple songs I get to sing, and I have a lot of fun with that.
Well, I was going to say, you've got that range of voice. Not unlike mine.
I got, yeah.
As long as you can hold
as deep as Nick, but
if you can get a key, if you like Barry White.
Hey, baby.
If you can do that and just hold a note, I would think you would do more of that.
It's okay.
I've heard you do bits and pieces.
Some stuff I do, and it's a lot of fun. But I tell you what, it's as a drummer, it's not easy to sing and play. So some of these, like Phil Collins, some of these guys that have done that.
Don Henley.
Oh man, Don Henley probably one of the best at doing that.
You can't tell.
Yeah, no.
I imagine there's just the physicality of movement that would cause.
Yeah, I mean,
things
you have to learn how to breathe, all kinds of things, because I don't know. But
I sometimes listen to Phil Collins or Don Henley on songs I know they're playing drums on.
Yeah.
And there's live versions where you listen. If you close your eyes, you're thinking, you can't tell. He could be sitting there with a tambourine in his hand doing whatever, but he is,
That's crazy, right?
That's right.
So anyway, let's get into, we'll talk, we have forever, weeks and weeks and weeks to talk about. I want to talk about what's going on this weekend. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse is going to be, and that's Nick's band, if you didn't remember.
The trio this weekend.
It's the trio. Okay, the trio on Sunday.
Saturday.
Right? See, I just need to let you
Saturday,
say it.
Whiskey River Tavern. What is the date Saturday?
Saturday is the 16th.
16th.
From 1 to 4?
1 to 4, trio. That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
That's a cool bar when you think of it. When I first visited here in the 70s, when I was a little kid, it was a place called Canarios.
Okay.
And then it became the county seat. I think I remember when I would have been drinking at that time here. And it's a fun game you can play. Go with the names of that bar.
Oh, yes.
County seat. Oh, Coyote Joe's might have been right after that.
So that's when I was first introduced.
But then there was Brick and Bones.
Yeah, it was Coyote Joe's, Brick and Bones, Far from Folsom. Montezuma Tavern. Now it's Whiskey River Tavern.
Yeah,
and I know the new owners. They're really cool.
They are.
They're good people. So they got a lot of exciting plans for that place. And
we're playing with the band there then next month, I believe.
Yeah. We love that.
Friday or
that's
Saturday.
That's one of the places we play. And I tell you what, it's cool. We like that. We like playing there.
That's a neat thing to think of is when you get to do. It seems like one night is what a lot of gigs are.
Sure.
But when you can get a weekend somewhere and you don't have to move your stuff twice. But for the patrons, I think that's a way better thing. So you're bringing different shit every night.
Yeah, it is. And here's the thing with us with multiple nights. Okay. And because I gave John a hard time about this once. I said, John, we got to be able to do a Friday and Saturday night. And he goes, that's fine. He goes, then each show needs to be a 2-hour show, not a 4-hour show. And I go, what about all these guys that go on tour, dude? They sing every night. And he goes, yeah, they play for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I go, hey, what was I going to say at that point? He's like, yeah, they sing 15 songs. We're singing 42. I'm like,
Does John do a brunt of the singing?
He does. Oh, yeah.
Well, so it is hard on him, man.
He does a lot.
Two-nighters are tough.
I think Keith might sing, I want to say 3 songs, and I do maybe 2. So John's got about 30, 35 songs a night he's got to sing.
Got to think
it's a lot. And they're not, they're 90s rock songs.
You're yelling it out.
And they're not, another thing too is we play a lot of songs. So, some bands can get away with playing, an 8-minute song, 9-minute song with, some cool guitar parts and some jamming around, we don't get away with that. So it's a lot of vocals, a lot of things going on. So when you see 90 Proof, you'll see us one night, and that's just the way we have to roll.
One night only.
Yeah. So
are you doing something this weekend?
We're off this weekend. Yeah.
We're off next weekend. First time in
Yeah. So next weekend we're at the Birdcage, but we'll talk about it on our show next week.
We're at the Birdcage soon too.
Yeah. No,
but you're very right. Jill's, pretty prudent about. One point I was going to make too is thinking back in the late 80s, John was always there and it had that more biker reputation.
Yeah.
That was going on since the 60s. And people would talk about they used to camp across the street, tents all over the square, drinking, fornicating and doing whatever people do.
They did a lot of things.
Partying. Yeah. And the Birdcage was that bar.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
So that was known as you better play some rock shit and blues stuff. That's it. There was a time where you would not think of playing a country tune there.
Yeah.
But as generations go and as your target audience of that, 21 to 40 something, whatever year olds that really do attend those things.
Yeah.
That is more in the culture. And I think that's a big thing. And that's what we do. We can do almost a whole night of country music or a whole night of rock. We try and and that comes from the Five in the Wheel days when we used to do a lot more country stuff, but we've carried over a lot of those songs and added a lot of other country songs because, you look out at the crowd, you'll see a hat. Oh, you see another hat, or the rodeos in town.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And if you're playing anywhere on Whiskey Row, you better have some country shit.
So what you're saying is you kind of whore yourself out a little. It's all right. You're allowed to.
No, I do.
We don't do that because it's too hard for us to do that. But you guys,
we don't care
Nick,
as much.
you're way past that, right? Like, I'm way past that, man.
I have no
scruples. We have been known to play the same song 3 times in a row.
Have you? No, I will never do that.
Well, when they're putting $100 in the tip jar each time you play it.
Well, that's different. That's different.
I mean,
no, but that's a cool thing. Generationally, we're not that far apart. I'm 52. What are you?
43. Yeah.
Okay, so, well, you look older than that. Shave that fucking gray, beard, dude, and you're gonna look like you're 40.
Hey, no,
I'm telling you. That's why I don't have facial hair anymore.
Yeah, right.
It got so gray that I'm like, fuck.
I don't mind it, man. I don't mind it.
It's kind of knowledge.
So let's get back to Whiskey River Tavern. Okay, so let's highlight that venue a little bit because it's kind of off the path. It's South Montezuma. SOMO, they call it. So you got Birdcage, which is kind of the furthest band south on Whiskey Row, between Goodwin and Gurley on Montezuma. And if you're just listening, you're not familiar with Whiskey Row. Whiskey Row is in Prescott, Arizona, and it's on Montezuma Street between Goodwin Street and Gurley Street.
It's one of the bordering streets of the Town Square Courthouse.
Correct. There you go. It's the west bordering.
Almost looks like Back to the Future, Marty McFly, 1955 courthouse, except
yes.
That's
it.
One of the streets.
So if you keep going south on Montezuma, just past Goodwin Street, you'll run into what looks like a little tiny bar called Whiskey River Tavern.
Yep.
And you look in there and you see about 15 places to sit, and you might go, wow, it looks crowded in there. I ain't going to go there. You got to walk in there, walk through that bar, and it opens up to a great big patio in the backyard. It's covered. They have heaters when it gets cold. They have a bar out there. They have a restaurant, food, which is really good. And they have a cool stage with really good music. And so it's kind of one of those, like, if you didn't know it was there.
That's true.
If you didn't know it was there, you might not find yourself there.
That's true.
We've had people show up there getting out of the parking garage. They could hear us playing.
Walk down the alley.
And they walk down the alley.
I think you'd even enter through the alley.
Yeah, you can. So, okay, so let's go through what they got going on. So Wednesday night, they have Xander Rodriguez and company from 6:30 probably till 9. Doesn't tell me an end date, but they do that every Wednesday, I believe. They have music, I think, 5 days a week.
And like the Windsock has it.
Yeah. And then on Thursday, it's Andrew Deering and Friends, 6:30. Let's see here.
That's like an open mic. People can even show up and do that.
Yes.
Andrew's great. Xander's great. All that. That's a great idea because those guys have a lot of different people play with them a lot.
Yes.
Go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, you're absolutely fine. So actually, that's next Thursday. This Thursday, you got Travis Crow and Colton Burris.
Another couple great dudes.
Good dudes. Yeah, we're gonna get all these guys on the show too. I mean, this is just the beginning. This is episode 1.
Travis Crow, realtor.
Yeah, realtor. Yep.
He's a good guy, man. I know all those guys. Colton's great. I love his Elvis hair, man.
Yeah. So and then Saturday, like you said, you guys are in there.
Afternoon, and then I go
Saturday afternoon, and then I think Saturday later it's Aragon Brothers.
Yep. Cool.
I think they probably start at 8. It's probably what's going on there.
Yeah, 8 to 11 is what that usually runs.
Yep, 8 to 11. And then you got Sunday, you got Justin and Autumn Hitson. Those guys are great. Yep.
Justin just came out with a CD. I just saw him the other day.
He did. Oh, Friday night. I missed Friday night. Friday night, you got Stephen Rock. Those guys are pretty cool. Have you seen those guys yet?
Oh, I met them a couple times. They're very cool.
They're awesome, man. They're just good people, too.
Yeah, they are really nice. I was just talking to them about baseball.
Oh, right. They just went to a game. I saw that, right?
Saw that.
They're passionate outside of music.
Isn't that funny how we're all connected that way now with this shit in our pocket? That's a computer
that
communicates everything more than Apollo 11 had, right?
Right.
And it's right here. So we all know these things. Facebook, it's funny. Now, this is generational as well. My kids who are more 20s, 30, whatever, Instagram and the platforms that they like to use.
Sure.
And it almost like my kids give me shit for Facebook stuff. Like, dude, why don't you just go on? You should always go on like Instagram and all that. So some of those things I've gotten has been just from them.
So this is how we
we
figure things out. So the memory card's full on the GoPro. So hey.
It's because of my face. It's like taking in all this shit going, oh, look at the wrinkles in his forehead.
It's okay.
He's got the forehead of Keith Richards.
So you'll just get the wide view for the rest of the show.
Great. Is it this one?
It's that one, yeah. It's all right.
It's wide. I like to have all cameras up here so I can tip like my head.
I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody here.
care.
Let's see. Did I miss anybody for this weekend?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I got everybody.
So that's a cool thing, like we talked about when we get together and talk about things like this, get other people, is that should be like the show starter. Hey, we're here, by the way, in Prescott, because, especially with me, I get to wandering off on topics half the time. I don't remember what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's okay.
But that's a good rundown to do as like a premise or, here's all the stuff going on this week.
Oh, yeah, no. And
try and get those people in here and get one of them. That was a great idea.
Yeah, and for all the listings, if you go to Spotlight on Prescott on Facebook, we'll have all those listings for you. So you get all those events. Good. So we'll mention some on the show, talk about some highlights. Some of our favorites. We'll spotlight an artist.
Yeah, so many.
Kind of spotlighted our two bands tonight, and highlighted maybe Whiskey River Tavern a little bit.
Oh, they are great. I like
great bar staff over there too. By the way,
yeah,
very good bar staff.
No, I played there also, and through the weather, they were like right on. We got rain one of the times there. That's tough with the outside venues.
It is.
And they maintain it, and they're talking about they have
covering it up somehow. Yeah, that was the thing. I was talking with John over there. He's one of the new owners, and historically, that place is closed down pretty much in the wintertime. The outdoor patio.
It has to outside.
Yeah. And
is it John and Lori?
John and Lori. Well, Lori is...
There's like two couples.
Yeah. And so the nice thing is they want to find a way to keep that place open in the wintertime. And I think they need to. I mean, I don't know.
In the old days, when it was just turned into Coyote Joe's, is when they really started doing more of the outside at all.
Yeah.
That was a storage area back in the 80s. There was nothing back there. And when it was the old restaurant, that's where people would just go to the back door. It's funny, when Canarios was around, it was back around since I think the 40s. I have no idea. But Dayton Ratowski, an old-time buddy of mine who's been around here since
old mayor,
in the 40s. Yeah, in the mayor. He'd talk about going there for lunch. We went Sacred Heart School up there. It was called whatever it was called at the time.
Gotcha.
St. Joe's. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit a couple other events. So Funk Frequency's playing Saturday night at Jersey Lily. Those guys are always fun. They don't seem to play as much.
No, they don't.
So go check those guys out.
They're
for sure.
Great. John Poole's great drummer. Michael, all those guys are great.
Great band. So, but go check out some local music this weekend, and we'll be back on. So let's wrap this up for tonight.
All right,
it's our first show. We thank everybody for listening. We'll put some information down below where you can get the video and see this later. And I'm Josh Rice, and that is
Nick Guzzo.
And we are just two rock star realtors.
Rock stars in our own little worlds.
Hey, this is we're going to head out. Have a good one. Take care.